Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. Scott, Efren, Melvin, Lawrence, Robert showed up. Thanks, Rob and Tom, Kelly. Um, you guys all know me. This is not a super formal meeting. This is our company meeting. And my agenda is just to try to start bringing everybody together. I talk to everybody all the time. We don't get to meet each other too often. We have reps all over the country, and so that doesn't create a lot of opportunity for us to get together unless maybe we'll do a big powwow at the San Diego Convention Center. But I want to keep inspiring you guys and get you together to further the opportunity. I'm a big believer in mastermind, which is the idea that together we create solutions that we don't create on our own. And that's kind of how I've been able to build companies in the past. This is no exception. So I'm just going to flip to I have a little share screen here. Okay, hey Kelly, can you see? Oh, probably not now, but can you see the slides?
I can.
Okay, great. So I'm going to do a little more background. It's like piece by piece. We do have a few new people, and Kelly came on very quickly just a few weeks ago, but she's become very essential to the company because she does everything that I don't have time to do. So I want you guys to know that she's a resource for all of us as well. And I'm going to be addressing some of the market areas that we can penetrate. My goal today is try to inspire you guys, but let me just give you a little background on the company and what we're trying to do, and then hopefully that will give you some additional inspiration. We're a mission-based company. Our goal is to support injury victims. And you hear me, any of you who've been on a call with me, you hear me say this all the time. Our goal is to support injury victims. We do that in a number of ways. We help save healthcare offices, law offices, and injury victims from financial ruin. And the way we do that is because we are a David and Goliath fight every single day. We're basically going against major law firms and major insurance companies who have very, very deep pockets and whose only goal is to make things take longer than they should, as opposed to us, where we're trying to do the exact opposite, to get people out of trouble as long as possible. And while we're doing this, we're creating an economic life vehicle for ourselves, obviously, and other people we bring into this company. We're doing the same. We're trying to build our company. We have deep pockets. We have terrific programs to achieve this goal. And I'm going to tell you how we get there. I'm going to give you a little more overview. I'll go quickly, and then we can get into some of the more interesting stuff. So when somebody gets in an injury, basically the victim, he goes to doctors, and typically they need to see an attorney. Not always, but a lot of times they will, because they're fighting against maybe a large insurance company, or maybe they're in Target and a box falls on their head and they have to sue Target. They have liability insurance, and we're called the plaintiff. The other side is called the defendants. Okay, and they typically hire $1,500 an hour, the most expensive lawyers in the world, who have no other incentive than to keep these things going forever, while the victim, may not be able to work or pay his bills. The doctors typically will take something called a lien or a letter of protection, which is an IOU. It basically says that the doctor's not going to get paid until the law offices collect and the injury victim collects. So that typically takes anywhere from 6 to 5 years, 6 months. Takes anywhere from 6 months to 5 years. And in that time, these guys are making money and these people are suffering. So we're looking to support them, right? And we offer financing, we offer support to the victim and the doctors. And then the law offices on our side of the table, who are also waiting to get paid, we can support them as well in a number of ways. Financially, and then also providing expert services to help these victims. Cases are settling because it's too expensive to litigate. I mean, the bottom line is that COVID came, the courts were shut down for 2 years, and a lot of doctors' offices have gone out of business. It's very expensive to litigate a case. And so if the lawyer's taking it all on himself and he's fighting this giant fight against these unlimited financial institutions, they need help. And that's where we come in. So important thing just to notice, and this is something I have to retrain myself to do, and I have to kind of share with you, is it's really not about the service that we provide. The way that we create client value is by getting them to know us, like us, provide service to them. It's not really about the service. You know, when I'm training or I'm talking to people, I'm really concerned about what it is that their needs are. Not about me, it's about them, right? I mean, I could say, hey, I got this thing for you and I want to sell it. But the truth is, if you want to build these bridges, especially now in a time where there's a lot of marketing pollution and unscrupulous business practices, people need to get to know you. And they do that by you asking them questions about them. What are their needs? What's going on? So I just want to share that with you. You know, we have a nationwide network and referral program. Anybody who does business with us, we want to do business with them. And we have cases coming in, we have lawyers coming in, we have a network of doctors all over the country. And when people participate with us, this is like the number one benefit that somebody gets doing business with us. Hey, small doctor might not have a lot, but you know, you could be part of our nationwide network, and then maybe that doctor will refer his surgeon to us, or his lawyer, his um, imaging center, or labs, right? So the network aspect of this is extremely important. We finance chiropractic as well as medical, all service providers, law offices, injury victims. And I'll talk in a minute about the different ways that we do that, which are beneficial to you. So you're going to hear me repeat this stuff a few times because the more you hear it, the easier it becomes. We do some collection and billing, including work comp, and I'll talk about revenue recovery in a minute because it's one area of our business. And what you guys don't know that you don't see the other people that are coming in that are adding products and services to our company all the time that become our network referral program partners, and we end up having reciprocal business with them. There are four spheres to our business. We have a medical side, and the medical side is doctors and all the ancillary health providers, but it's also things like medical equipment, lab companies. Some of these are nationwide. And if they're serving injury patients, then they're a potential source for us to be in our network and to do business with us. Obviously, the injury victims as well, law offices, kind of self-explanatory. What you guys might not know is we actually have a law office. It's Spartacus Law in Nevada, and we're able to refer cases back and forth to lawyers all over the country. And then next week, I'm planning on having Chandan Alexander, the attorney, come in next week to have a powwow with us so we can ask questions of him and we can kind of probe the law office side from his point of view. The partnership aspect is huge. And then, you know, Scott's here. Scott is like the king of partnerships. I mean, incredible how he has networks that, you know, he introduces me to that are nationwide in scope, who are they're just great people to do business with. And this is a large side of the business that kind of allows us not to necessarily have to talk to every single doctor, every single law office, every single injury victim. Through these partnerships, we're able to expand our reach to large groups of people right away. Let's talk a little bit about untapped markets. So we really have no competition as a business. Nobody does everything we do. Some people do litigation finance, and some people do, you know, they finance work comp cases in New York, or they do victim financing in Florida. We're the only company that's national in scope that does workman's comp portfolios nationwide. And what that means is that any doctor anywhere in the country that is doing workman's comp, if he's waiting for his money, and he will be, in work comp and personal injury, they wait for their money. Some places are better than others, but this is a non-performing asset for these doctors. And we have virtually an unlimited market. I actually had a talk with a few of the guys today. I think Fred's here, and we talked about these different spheres. Like somebody came to me 2 days ago, and he said to me, "I have all this accounts receivable, and I'm looking to buy this medical practice. And could you monetize the accounts receivable so I can buy the practice?" And then I thought to myself, I haven't talked to any medical business brokers. Now, one of the people in our company, Nate Peterkin, who I don't think is here right now, he actually buys and sells medical practices, and he's in that business. That doesn't matter. What I'm pointing out to you is if you guys are looking for spheres of business, this is a really untapped market where there's a need for doctors that are buying practices to have. Now, we also have capital to buy practices, but this is really easy because there's no credit check. It's based on their accounts receivable. It's what we like to do. And it's sitting there. So here's a chance for them to take everything out that they might need to buy this practice. If they're a partner in a medical practice, this is a perfect way for them. So I'm thinking that business brokers that buy and sell practices are going to have a lot of businesses to refer to us that are trying to buy. This is a turnkey operation, and we could talk about how we want to grow that. Now, the other thing that's very underserved is our experts. And we provide all types of experts to law offices. And so we provide medical experts, but we also provide accident reconstruction people, people that need to testify, psychologists, economic experts. Our company has a whole division where all we do is provide and pay for experts. So it's a very untapped market. And I spoke to Fred a little bit this week about actually creating a sphere of this business of reps whose only purpose is to contact lawyers that are doing litigation to pay their experts. I think it's
Wait, Dr. Mitch, let me jump in on that. I think we need to build out the offering docs or the informational docs to support that expert pay side, because I think it's a great opportunity. And I just think if we talk to a law firm and throw it off the cuff, hey, we have experts for you, I think it falls on deaf ears like that. So we need to do more on that side, promoting that business. I think it's an awesome business.
I agree. I agree. And it's you and I will get right on that. I mean, like I said, this is an underserved area for us, and you and I are planning on building this up for everybody.
Yes.
So thank you for including that. Medical.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's just. I mean, it's a big deal, and I think most providers that we talk to, law office, they probably don't even know how big of a portion it could be for their business, or maybe they're not including it, Doc, like we talked about, because of the cost. I just don't know. So I think if we can figure out a way to expand on that for them, make it make a lot of sense.
Yes.
That hey, you're not paying out of pocket. We're here to help you.
That's right.
That might open up the.
Right. So what Fred is bringing up is the fact that lawyers need to pay typically for experts out of their pocket. These guys don't take liens. This is bringing up, which I didn't exactly mention. I'm not going to remember everything, but they don't typically take letters of protection and wait to get paid. Experts want to get paid immediately. So I have one specifically in Los Angeles that is a large injury law firm that typically can run up millions of dollars in expert costs, and has been paying those out of his pocket. And once he came in, we're financing all of his expert costs. And you as reps also need to know that once that introduction is made, everything that we participate in, you get paid on residually. Here's the inspiration part. It takes me till page 4 to get to that, but this is a very unusual opportunity for you, because you could literally refer one law office to me that you work with that makes as much money for you as a full-time career somewhere else, selling insurance, real estate, I don't know, anything else that you could think of, technology, internet services, right? So, and we have large pockets. So again, very untapped market. Fred and I you and I and Kelly we'll have a confer on that, and we'll talk about how we can build up our story on the expert page to be
And I
able to.
think, and Mitch, I think it's important to say that any reps we have on, like, we're here to work with you, not work against you. So, we'll support you. And if, I mean, worst case, if we got to do a lot more work than you on something and you get a reduced commission, we're not going to just cut you out and say, oh, well, all right, you didn't do enough. Because we've all been involved in sales organizations like that where they try to pull that crap. Excuse my French, but we're here to promote everybody. We want everybody to participate. We want everybody involved. We want everybody to bring all their cases to the table. We'll figure it out.
Right.
So
Right.
don't think I'm not going to bring this case because I don't know if I'm going to get paid on it. Your pay should not be the motivation. The motivation is going to be helping people. And of course, if we figure out a way to help that group, you or client, you bring, we're going to figure out a way to get paid. So that should be the motivation.
Right, and Kelly and anybody who's worked with me will tell you I'm all about helping the victim and any participation. I'll try to put you into things you don't even work on. That's just the way I am. I want everybody, and in certain parts of the country, anything that comes in your region can go to you. So my goal is to make sure
That's
that.
awesome. And Mitch, let me tell you something, and I know most sales reps will also chime in and say, that's awesome to hear, because you usually don't hear that from a lot of sales organizations. Usually like, hey, let me figure out a way to pay you less. And that's not what we're doing. We're not trying to figure out a way to pay you less. If anything, and tell me if I'm wrong, Mitch, we want to pay you more.
Can I add a comment on this subject?
Go ahead.
Who's this? Who's this?
The thing to keep in mind, when you're talking
Who's talking? Is this Bruce?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Bruce Sanford from New York.
Hey, Bruce. How are you?
How are you?
New York. These are my east. By the way, these are my Northeast guys. In case you didn't notice the accent. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, here's really the thing to think about. Okay, we all know that 99%, if not 90%, somewhere in that area of these cases never go to trial. They settle. Okay.
True.
And what's that?
True.
True. And the whole trick is to show that your stick is bigger than the other guy's stick. Okay. And for a lawyer, if it's sometimes, a matter of, hey, I've got an expert that's better than your expert, or, or they had a case and they need an expert, but they haven't had a future case like this. They don't have that conduit to that expert. And if you go into the pool of experts, everybody seems good, but that doesn't really mean anything. Okay. So, the fact that we have this, armature, so to speak, of, proven experts. Okay. And the higher the price, the better. Okay. Actually, because that is how you win cases.
That's right. Actually, what Bruce is bringing up something very important, just the credibility of the case. And I work as an expert myself. And when I write a report, I bring in research. I try to literally knock their heads off, because I know that if I give them enough research and enough story that backs up our client, that's how we win a case. We need to paint the best picture. And the interesting thing is, on the defense side, they actually use a lot of old statistics. They use old research, things that might have worked 10 years ago. And it's not that hard to battle it once they bring it out. So, and on the plaintiff side, we typically don't invite them to any of our seminars, because we're always strategizing to try to figure out how David's going to slay Goliath today. For those of you who don't know, we do free appointments.
Okay, great.
Go ahead. Thank you. For those of you who don't know, we do free appointments on our website, and the goal is really to get everybody to just schedule. So just put it up here. Maybe I should have done it at the end. Doesn't matter. Okay, so let's. I'm going to get into just a couple of minutes on each of these nitty gritty. Service providers, again, personal injury, work comp. So there's a number of areas. I'm just going to skip forward for a second to litigation, to case types. Okay, this is something important, something not all of you know. So there's a bunch of different kinds of injuries that people can have. They can have an accident, car accident. Personal, that would be a personal injury case, a slip and fall, a dog bite, right? Premises liability, something happens to someone. They can have workman's comp, which is a work injury where they're on the job or they're in the course of their employment. They can have medical malpractice, which is if they're injured during a medical procedure. They can have something called a mass tort, which would be something like a medical device injury, or they're injured by a medicine. They can have a class action suit where something happened to a whole bunch of people. There was disclosure that wasn't put on a bottle of vitamins, becomes a massive case. They can have commercial cases, and I'm working on some of these now. We don't just do physical injury, we also do economic injury cases where somebody's injured economically. I've had several big ones. One was a case where a guy had an option on stock. The company wouldn't convert it. He couldn't collect his money. They owed him $20 million and he had to litigate. And that's a case we would work on. That's a commercial case. I think that's most of it. There may be others I'm not thinking of at the moment, because every time I say that, somebody will call me tomorrow with something that we can do. We can do inheritance work. We can give advances on inheritances. We have money for this kind of stuff. It kind of falls under the same umbrella, which is the fact of, are people waiting? Are any of our people in our sphere waiting to get paid? And can our firm bridge that gap? Can we create that bridge for them, or that gap financing? Injured
All right, that
parties.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, lawsuits, probate, work comp, and medical.
Excuse me, if I could just jump back a second.
Was that Bruce? Go ahead, Bruce, sure.
Yeah, you kind of jumped over something that I wasn't following you on. You talked about free appointments, but you didn't really explain what you meant by that. And
Okay.
being new, I wasn't following you. You
Okay.
went through 3 different slides, and I'm
Sorry.
sorry.
Sorry. So I was just bringing that up kind of as an aside, that typically when you're talking to a client, it's very easy to get on the website and just schedule an appointment with me or with Kelly, or with Efren, or with anybody in the company. Guys that are starting out like you, Bruce, and a lot of the newer people. If I'm available, it's good to get me on the phone. And initially, that's the best way really to approach this business. If you have a prospect, not to try to learn and sell everything, but to try to get us on the phone. And then I can even bring underwriters on the phone if they have large capacity questions, like if they're a hospital and urgent care, we could talk. I could bring my attorney on. So the point is, when you make an appointment on the website, it gets on my calendar, and then we can, it just gives you the framework for when one of us is available, and it's highly encouraged. And we don't charge clients anything for anything we do on the front. We are not a fee-for-service company. We charge people based on our performance and recovery. So our appointments are free and our consulting is free. And that includes going into an office, going through their stuff and their financials. We don't charge for that. We could, but it's not really our model at this point. What we do now is basically we're trying to create this network on a good faith basis with everyone, and just basically make our money on the other side. That's not true for you guys, because as reps,
So the short answer to all that is, we're flexible. We don't want to take any money out of the reps' pockets, and we're here to support.
right, but I wanted to mention this. So none of the reps wait to get paid, okay? The only exception to that is if we refer a legal case, we have to wait for payment on the legal case to settle. But I'm going to try to finance that case today. I'm going to finance the experts, the victim, and the litigation. You get paid when we finance the case. And you may also get paid when it settles if you're on that side of it. That's the only side that really has deferred payment. Everything else is geared to pay you immediately. Injury victims, we can finance in a day to 2 days. It's very, very quick to finance an injury victim. Medical, depending upon how cooperative the doctor is, I don't think I've done one in less than a week. Lawyers and litigation, we can also do very quickly. And so that's kind of where I was going with the next slides, is to talk a little bit more about nuts and bolts. We purchase accounts receivable, medical accounts receivable. We also fund any type of injury service as it walks through the door. So a doctor, I have a surgery center right now, and we have a problem with one of the physicians. He's got some legal issues. They're taking in a new doctor. And what they did is they sent us a bunch of cases. We said, you know what? I'm going to fund one of those cases anyway. Just good faith to you, which has happened today. And then they're bringing on a new surgeon. So what we'll do is we'll agree to a price on a forward basis how we're going to fund those surgeries. And then every time a patient comes through the door, they just send us the bill and we'll pay for that surgery to them in advance to the prearranged rate that we agreed to. Now, some of these are national companies, and Scott's been bringing in some national companies. And the national companies, we have an additional product where we could just give them a line of credit, like a factoring line. And what that means is that instead of us buying their receivables, we'll just advance them money. We'll charge them a small interest rate on a monthly basis. And then as new business comes in, we'll replenish that money. And hang on one second. Thank you. So there's benefits and risks to both type of financing. To us, we purchase liens. We do it on a non-recourse basis. When we buy accounts receivable or we buy a file, if that case doesn't settle, we take a loss. On a factor or line.
So hey, Doc, let me throw this in. I think as we go forward, for marketing for the team and for us as a matter of course, I think we need to put together these case studies based on specific examples of cases we've worked on. So that way, the reps have something like, hey, here's something we did in the past.
Right. No, you and I
similar to your situation.
You and I
that idea about the idea about the case study is 100%. I mean that
okay.
felt like
all
nothing.
Right, good.
That's a great idea. Good. That's a great idea. May I ask you a question?
So we'll work on that.
May I ask a question?
Yep.
Okay, and I apologize if my questions are out of order, but
oh, Bruce, you're always out of order.
That's what my wife says. Anyway, when we look at let's just talk law for a second. When we look at the type of firm that is more typical of our customer, are we talking about the Morgan and Morgan type of firm? Are we talking about the individual provider? What's the prototype of the kind of law firm that we might?
So you're talking about legal, like medical is anything. But on the legal side, here's what you need to know about law firms, okay? So Morgan and Morgan actually kind of recruits lawyers all over the country. So the individual lawyers that work for them may be clients of ours. The problem with very large PI firms that do, like, I don't want to call them case mills per se, but that are churning large numbers of business, some of them are going to run into problems with using them because they are taking the low-hanging fruit. I mean, it's better for us to work with firms that litigate. So there's a difference between firms that settle and firms that litigate. Right. And we do a lot more. We're looking for more firms that are on the litigation side. And what's the second half to that question? Large law firms like Greenberg Torig and Kirkland and Ellis and Cooley. Those guys typically represent the insurance companies. They don't typically represent injury victims. So we're not going to get, and not only that, but they usually have very deep pockets and they don't need us. So there's a middle ground. And the middle ground is smaller firms that are doing large cases are the best. And there are a lot of those guys, very smart guys. My firm in LA, they're experts at mold and brain injury. I've got others that have various levels. I got an attorney in Florida whose expert is class action suits. And he's a small firm, but he's one of the acknowledged experts in the whole country. So he brings me $100 million cases. So those are the guys that are going to be really fun to work with. And that's who we could target anybody, but those are the guys we love to do business with.
So getting back to the other question I had was the medical. What's growing right now are these ambulatory surgery centers. I work with a bunch of them, right. And they're different than hospitals, okay, in many ways. And a lot of the things that are done at those ambulatory surgery centers are cash pay type of things. They're not covered by insurance or
Right.
whatever. And so what a lot of these surgery centers, which are usually individual groups of doctors, will do is that they're going to either, try to work with Lending Club or one of these type of companies to finance with individual patients, that type of thing. Or they'll just, try to convince the patient to pay in full. But that's, really kind of, that sells well.
Well, I don't know. I mean, based on my experience with self-pay patients, usually self-pay is they're paying up front.
Right.
So
right.
unless if they have a pay plan they default on, I don't know. And Dr. Mitch, please chime in on this. I don't know if we can actually go after those people.
Well, that's not my point. My point is,
Go ahead.
what I was leading up to is it sounded to me that, like what you were saying, and all of that, they lose a lot of patients that drop off the continuum. So the question
Well,
is,
then the question is, honestly, I mean, do we want to present ourselves as a finance company versus a collection company?
Let me just finish the point real quick. It sounded to me like what you were saying is that rather than go that route, what we could do is offer the ambulatory surgery center the opportunity to perform the surgery. Okay. And they would discount, the surgery to us, and therefore we would pay the bill to the patient.
No, hang on, Bruce. It's apples and oranges. That's what Fred's trying to tell
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand. Go ahead. Tell me.
Yeah, no. There has to be a third party with liability. We don't deal with individuals or regular health insurance. It has to be an injury client, either somebody that was injured in some way that has a medical legal aspect to the case.
Okay, now I understand. Okay.
All right. Any other quick questions? Anybody? Okay. Well, look. I mean, we're going to do this every week. I'm not going to have time to do everything.
Oh, I had a question. Is Eric Langerman? Can you
Hi,
hear
Eric.
me?
How are you?
Good. I haven't had a lot of things going on, family passing on, dealing with family issues, but I wanted to ask, did you that one brochure? Did you get that and check out that you sent me, and then because I gave it back to you with all the things that I thought needed to be corrected on it.
Okay.
Oh, it was quite a few months ago.
That's right. I know what you're talking about, Eric, and I'll call you after, and I'll take care of that for you. Okay.
Okay. Well, and then can veterinarians be used in this type of I don't know.
Veterinarians? No.
No?
I just don't know, because there's no, I can't. Dentists, if they're repairing broken teeth on an injury victim, but
Oh, okay. So
no.
just human beings, human being injuries. Then.
Right. Yeah, no, veterinarian would be interesting. I guess if somebody hits a dog with their car and you sue the automotive company, like, I guess if a pet is injured and there's insurance, I guess we would do it. I mean, if there's a lawyer involved, yeah, we could pay a veterinarian for injury.
The problem is pets are considered property and not a person. So there's a very little, liability for hitting a pet.
No, actually, that's not entirely true. If they've got medical bills, if they have medical bills, with the veterinarian because someone else is at fault, that is a case. So
okay.
I don't think that's a big market for us. I think if we talk to medical billing companies, these are guys that are doing regular insurance. All of their clients have PI, work comp, med mal, they've got cases that they're treating with deferred payment that they have no idea what to do with, right? Medical billing companies, these business brokers have doctors that want to buy their practices. There's a lot of market for us without having to really kind of go too far afield. I mean, if you have something, you want to run it by me, great, but surgeons, chiropractors, pain management centers, MRI centers, these are all our target market. Injury attorneys, civil litigation lawyers, even probate attorneys for settlement. We can advance them money. Class action suits, medical device lawyers that are, all of these things. It's a massive. We're talking over 1 million prospects without veterinarians. So if it comes, I'll take. You know me, I'm going to take a look at everything. That's just my nature. I'm a little OCD when it comes to wanting to help people. But
Okay.
We
Then,
still don't know what's going to happen with this pandemic. Not everything is liability free. I think there are going to be a lot of.
and we're going to talk about that. We're actually building a team to talk about vaccine injury, which would go against the employers that force the vaccine, not against you can't sue a vaccine manufacturer. So we're talking about that to my team.
Dr. Holland, I have a question. This is Donna.
Hi, Donna. I knew
Hi. Okay, what about judgments backed by real estate?
Sure.
Really?
Sure.
I have almost $1 million judgment backed by a building that's worth about 2.5 million, and his mortgage balance is only like 500,000.
Sure.
Okay, we'll talk later. Okay.
Guys, I'm sorry to say this. I'm going to get cut off here. I have another meeting coming up. And we'll do this on a weekly basis. You can all call me individually. I just wanted to get everybody together, and we'll do more informal meetings in the future. But thank you, everybody, for attending. It was a pleasure seeing you all here.
Excellent meeting.
Oh, thank you. Very nice. Bruce, you're always very kind to me. Thank
So you said every week at a certain day, Tuesday, Monday, 4 o'clock?
I'm going to take a poll on that. So we'll
Okay.
see. I know I've got a lot of people